I got a squeaky chair. It brings back memories, huh? So today my son comes home from school, my son and my daughter, and I'm in the bathroom, and I hear this blood-curdling scream. And I run outside, or run out of the bathroom and to the kitchen and ask what is going on. My son's screaming. And he's holding his chin right here. And my mom is kind of frantically holding his arm and trying to drag him to the bathroom. And I said, well, what happened? He tripped and fell, and while he was walking in the door, and he didn't face plant, but his chin hit the hard ceramic tile floor, and he was holding it like this, and blood all over. So brought him into the bathroom, and my mom hands me a towel with water on it. I didn't want to use the towel because it's like, I could tell that he got it really good. I mean, it was, by the time we had walked from the kitchen to the bathroom, blood everywhere. Just dripping through his hands and down his neck and stuff. And my poor son, he said, I should have watched where I was going. I should have watched where I was going. I wasn't watching, I wasn't paying attention. I said, son, it's okay. It's like, you know, accidents happen. He's 6, you know, he just turned 6, and he's like, I mean, I get it, like, it's one of those, like, oh no, what did I do? And found out later he thought he was going to die, right? You see all the blood and stuff. Come on, focus. So I put a Band-Aid on it, and when I saw the gash on his chin, I knew we need stitches. And I mean, you could see the flesh coming out and stuff. And so I told him we were going to go see the doctor. And cleaned up some of the blood on his face and neck. And, my mom was like, you know, where are you going? Come on, camera, focus. I don't know why this thing does that. Squeaky chair. I mean, I was going straight to the hospital, but she's like, well, let's go to the pediatric center. Fine, it was right across the street from the hospital. We go in the pediatric center. The nurse practitioner wasn't there, so they sent us to the hospital. When we left, I explained to my son that, you know, he might have to get stitches. I said I didn't know if he was going to. I mean, I knew that he would. In the back of my mind, I had a really, I mean, I'm not a doctor. They have dermoplast now that you can seal up wounds with, and it works pretty amazing, but I'm not a doctor, so I wasn't going to tell him he was or was not, but I was trying to prepare him mentally for getting stitches in case he did have to get them. And I can understand some people thinking that's kind of cruel. But I'm usually pretty straight up and honest with my kids. And I had sort of an epiphany today. I'll get to that at the end here. So I'm explaining to him that he might have to get stitches, but he's going to be okay. That stitches will hurt, but it will be okay, and I will be there with him. And there's something that I do with, I've done with both my kids, with the time that I can spend with them, is teach them how to breathe. Here I am smoking a cigarette. I teach them how to breathe. I know, I'm a hypocrite. Whenever they get scared or panicked or upset, I tell them that, take a big deep breath and hold it and then let it out. I tell them to do it 3 times. And I've explained to them that what it does is it forces your body to relax. And it does, even if you're in a panic state and you force yourself to breathe like that, your body will relax. Now, to what degree depends on how much you're panicking or freaking out, but it will reduce anxiety. So we were doing breathing on the way to the doctor. And he had his Band-Aid. That made him feel much better once I got that on and we got in the car. So we got to the hospital and we waited a long time. And we got to triage, and he said, the nurse was so sweet. She asked what happened, and he said, "Oh, I broke my chin just a little bit. I just need a new Band-Aid." So we get back into the ER room, and they brought us straight to the operating room. The big light. Gave him my phone. He's playing Plants vs. Zombies, and I watched him play. And I just was talking to him, getting him to relax. We were laying up he was real scared of the bed, so I got up on the bed with him and we propped it up. And I was like, it's just like a bed. We can chill back and play Plants vs. Zombies, And he was kind of reluctant at first, and then finally by the time the doctors came in, he was totally chilled out, relaxing, laying down with Daddy playing Plants vs. Zombies. But during that waiting period, the nurse practitioner would come in and put some numbing stuff on there, and he before he relaxed, I was asking him, what are you afraid? Because we're in a hospital, it's scary. And he said, "Yeah, I'm afraid." I asked him, "Well, what all have you been afraid of? Were you afraid when you got hurt?" He said, "Yeah, I thought I was going to run out of blood." And I explained to him that, the gallon of milk that, we have in the fridge, you have, I used the generic 8 gallons or whatever. So we have 8 of those full of blood. You lost some blood, but you would have to lose a lot of blood. So that wouldn't kill you. And also, you stopped bleeding, which means your platelets, which are little things in your blood, block the wound as you're bleeding. So these little platelets are smart enough to know, and I actually have a scar, same exact injury. It's fucking weird. Apparently it's a very common injury. So I explained to him about the platelets, and he thought that was super cool. He was really proud of his platelets. It's like, yeah, my platelets did good. And I asked him what else he was afraid of, he said, "I'm afraid. I was really just afraid that I was going to die." And I said, "Well, with something like this, I know that it hurts, and I know there was a lot of blood, but I can tell you, you're not going to die from this." So we all die one day, but this is not going to be the day that you die. I'm going to be right here with you. They will do something, whether they put glue on your chin or they have to do stitches. And every time, I brought up stitches a lot because I know that he was very afraid of stitches. But every time, as we talked about the stitches, he would get real tense. And then have him, we would breathe together. And I explained that, I've had stitches before. I showed him a scar. And I told him that I cut this finger all the way to the bone once. And that, his, if he did have to have stitches, yes, it would hurt. It would not be fun. It's not a fun thing, but he's not going to die, and he'll be able to go home to mommy and his sister. And he was very okay with that. He was still scared, but he was relaxed. He was pretty relaxed. He was not, there's the anticipation of what is going to happen. He's 6 years old. He's never experienced anything like that. So there was that anticipation and nervousness and anxiety. But when it would sort of crop up, we'd just breathe, and it really works for him. Works for me too. It might work for you too. Maybe try it sometime. So doctor comes in. I told him, we're going to have to take this off. It might hurt a little bit when we pull it off. So when we cleaned it up, it was just horrible. It's like almost 2-inch gash. That's how long it was. It was about that wide. And the doctor was trying to force it together to see if he could use the dermoplast, and he looked at me and he was like, "No." And I knew when I saw that shit that he was gonna need stitches, especially when it was cleaned up. When it was cleaned up and I saw it, I knew it was gonna need stitches. So anyways, when the doctor looked at me, I told Stone, I said, "Look, remember how I told you when we talked about the stitches, the doctor's going to have to do the stitches. I didn't think we were going to have to, and I was hoping we weren't going to have to do that, but I'm not going to let you leave here without being properly fixed. I want to make sure that you're fixed right so that you don't have to come back here again." And he was like, "Okay." He was shaking, we're doing breathing, It's like, it's going to be okay, you know. And it's good that we know now, because now that we know, we can get it done. It'll be over with pretty quickly, and then we can leave. And I told him about the shot to numb the area where he's going to get the stitches, and I told him that it was going to hurt. Before they had decided to do the stitches, I kind of was showing him, like, when they give you the, after they give you the shot, which will hurt, what you'll feel is like a pinch and a pull, and a pinch and a pull, and pinch and pull. And that part doesn't really hurt. It's the shot before that hurts. But if you can imagine that pinch and pull happening right here, just remember that the shot's the worst part. And once that's over with, you just have to sit there while he does the stitches. So there were 2 other people that had come in, you know, usually to hold the child down to do the stitches. And they do this thing they call the burrito, which I really don't think we needed to do, but I know the doctor and the nurses were more comfortable with that, because you don't want a child swinging his arms. But honestly, Stone did not move. It wasn't because of the burrito we wrapped him in. I was holding him the whole time, and I could feel that he was breathing. He was just closing his eyes real tight and just doing breathing. And he cried during the shot, but damn it, I'm gonna tell you, I freaking want to cry when they give me those damn deadening shots. I've had stitches. These fucking things hurt. So it was 7 stitches. I think it was 7 stitches. I didn't watch every single one. I watched 5 out of the 7. There was one that was just gnarly. I mean, it was like when he got the first 5 in, I think it was the 6th one, that there was like just this really big gaping thing, and he had to go a long distance under the skin, and it's just, I didn't want to watch that. But after that one, I looked again, because the doctor was like, well, I think that's it. And then there was still a little spot he needed to get, and I knew he needed to get it. He knew he needed to get it. None of us wanted to do it, but Stone was doing so good that it was like, fuck it, let's do it. And this is all like happening. Stone's listening. He's hearing it. He knows there's another stitch. Like, he just wants it to be over. Like, you know, we're gonna do one more. Okay? And he didn't say anything. He was just like, just freaking do it and get it over. Oh my God. So afterwards, got it all cleaned up, got his new Band-Aid on. I cried because he did so freaking well. Like, when I say well, it's like my children are like little adults. It's a little weird and scary to me sometimes, because I remember being a precocious child and not fitting in with other kids, and being made fun of and shit, you know, and then trying to dumb myself down to fit in. Hell, sometimes I feel that way still. A little worrisome sometimes, you know. My kids are just too fucking precocious. I know everyone feels that way about their kids. But he just turned 6. And he busted his chin up really bad. And we went to the hospital, and he just champ. So it's like the 2 nurses didn't even have to do anything, you know. And and they had this sort of look of like shock, but they didn't ask any questions. I'm sure because they were just happy. It was very busy today at the emergency room, and I'm sure they were tired. I could only imagine the stress in an emergency room, but they seemed very relieved that they weren't having to hold down a screaming, hysterical child. They did, of course, say, you did such a good job. It was a really, really good job. But I could see it in their face. They were just like, wow. And afterwards, I felt the same way. Jeez. So my epiphany was, my mother kind of pointed this out too. She had told my ex-wife not to come to the hospital because she tends to, well, I didn't know why. I thought she just wasn't coming. But my mother told her not to come, which if that had been me and I was my ex-wife, I'd have said, fuck you, I'm going to see my son. I'm going to be there. But, there's reasons behind all of that, but I was kind of feeling like that was shitty. Like I've had that same experience with her before, where I was going in anaphylactic shock, and I had to drive myself to the hospital because she was just like, oh, well, here you go, here's the keys. And I don't want my son to feel like that his mother doesn't want to be there, just like I didn't want to feel like my wife didn't want to be there when I was going into I was in anaphylaxis and driving to the hospital. Anyways, I didn't want my son to feel like that, but my mother afterwards told me that she told her not to come because and I've seen this, and I know that she's got a point. I'm a little disappointed that she told Vanessa not to come. Also a little disappointed that Vanessa didn't tell her to go fuck off and come anyway. But my mother did have a point. She said that I had the situation under control, and that it went much smoother because it was just me. And that was a big sort of epiphany, because for a number of years I felt like a real piece of shit father, because during the divorce I lost everything, my money and any means to take care of. The last Christmas I was able to I really enjoyed Christmas. Stella was born on Christmas. I love putting shit under the tree. I love spending money on my kids. I really do. I don't have any money, and I haven't had any money for years, and that doesn't bother me, but it bothers me that I can't spend money on my kids. I care less about spending money on me. Aside from, no. I mean, I haven't had income for 3 years, so I think I'm pretty well over spending money on myself. So, and all the money that I had went to getting my right to visit my children. But it's a cruel twist of fate. All the money I spent and losing the house, a vehicle, I have no place to visit them. Besides here with Cowboy and Mom. Yeah. So the epiphany is that there's value. I still have some value left as a father for moments like that. And it's real value. It's not like some idea that I'm telling myself has value, or some superficial value, this real value as a father. And that made me feel really good. Yeah. So, that was today's little adventure. I'll post some more soon. I'm going to be headed to one of my favorite cities pretty soon. I got to get some work done on my teeth. I'm trying to get the Medicaid stuff figured out, find a doctor that will accept my Medicaid, and my bottom teeth, they're going to fall out. It's bad. All the medicine that I had to take during the cancer crap, or whatever, that was really not cancer, but it was going to be. It was a what do you call it? Wasn't tumor. It was necrotic tissue. So we caught it early, in other words. But still, I had 5 rounds of steroids and all these other antibiotics and drugs and flox drugs. And these things just eat your teeth up. And I'm telling you, these teeth here are about to be gone. So I gotta fucking get something figured out. And I've still got friends. So there's a place that I can stay in one of my favorite cities. And trying to wrap up some stuff with the studios here and get got 2 studios here. I need to train the producers and engineers on how to work the protocol with the game developers that we're producing with. And hopefully when I go to this other city, make some more connections in that field. And with any luck, in the next month or 2, get my decision from disability and have some kind of an income, and also be able to go out and work again, so that I'm not flagging myself to start the whole disability process over again. This has been a really rough fucking ride. Really fucking rough. I'm really surprised I'm still here. But today was one of those days where I'm glad that I didn't put a bullet in my brain or hang myself again, because I saw some value finally, that I, regardless of not having any income or being able to buy my kids birthday presents or Christmas presents, or even spend time with them that I'd like, that there's at least sometimes that I am able to provide some real value to their life. So any of you people out there that have felt like I have before, you feel like there's not much you can offer your kids for whatever reason, whether it's financially or just the situation, or you're not even able to see them, I'm just here to tell you that try to hold on. I found something finally it was outside of my sphere of what I thought was normally of the most value as a parent. But sometimes those things have just nothing to do with what you are conceptualizing as valuable as a parent. And you can see it in your kids when it happens. I mean, I saw it, and not in just my kids, but my mother too. It was of a lot of value what happened today. And I find that really interesting, just in general with my diagnosis and stuff, that I tend to be more calm and more collected under insane situations. It's like something just snaps and I'm like, oh, okay, insanity. I'm good right here. It's the normal shit that I suck at. So don't give up hope on that. I know that's easy for me to say, but I found something finally. So wanted to share that. You guys have a great night.